Daniel, good to talk to you today. Give me the White House read on what this says about where we are in this fight against inflation.
Well, it's good to be with you. I think that the monthly core number did come in above expectations, but if you take a step back, I don't think it fundamentally changes anything about where we've been over the last 7 months or so in terms of the trajectory of the economy, which is a trajectory towards sustained lower inflation, while job growth and employment and the economy overall remain strong. I think one thing in particular that we pull out of the report from this morning is we now see real wages over the course of this business cycle have grown faster than any business cycle in more than 50 years. So, I think overall, our perspective is we continue on the efforts to lower costs for American workers and American families and continued strong progress in the economy.
Yeah, I mean, you point to the economic data that we've gotten recently. The trajectory is headed in the right direction. Inflation's starting to come down. You look at where the jobs market recently was, a huge, strong number. How does the White House go and sell that story to voters right now? Because if you look at polls, the president just doesn't poll well when voters are asked about who can handle the economy better, whether it's President Trump or former President Trump and President Biden.
Well, there's no question it's been a difficult few years for the American worker, for the American consumer, with the pandemic, with Russia's war in Ukraine leading to real challenges in our energy markets and global supply chains. But one of the things we're seeing in recent months in particular is a real uptick in measures like consumer sentiment and consumer confidence. And I think a central reason for that is where I started, that folks' wages are now growing faster than prices. We see wealth higher than it was before the pandemic after accounting for inflation, wages higher after accounting for inflation. So I think, it will be important in the months ahead for us to continue to tell the story about what the president's economic agenda has meant for workers, has meant for families, and also to be very clear that about the choice that the American people face right now and the contrast in Washington, D.C. A president who's primarily focused on working to lower costs for American families, and unfortunately, Republicans in Congress who've been more focused on tax cuts for the wealthy and large corporations.
Why do you think the president isn't getting credit for the turnaround that you're talking about right now? I mean, to your point, consumer sentiment has improved. The overall feeling within the economy has improved. But voters aren't necessarily tying that directly to the president's policies right now if you look at polling.
Well, when you ask folks not only what they think about their own financial situation, what they think about the direction of the economy, as you note, that's improving. When you ask folks about what they think about the president's policies that he's signed into law to lower costs, things like lowering prescription drug costs and healthcare premiums and clean energy costs, those are overwhelmingly popular. When you ask people about the president's plans to raise taxes on the largest corporations and the wealthiest Americans in order to reduce our deficit, that's very popular. So, I think a key focus from here will be continuing to go out in the country and tell to the American people the story of what the president has done to really lead us to a strong economic recovery that works for workers and families, and also how his plans would continue to grow our economy and really create a fairer economy going forward.
Daniel Hornung, National Economic Council Deputy Director, joining us today from D.C. Thanks so much.
Thank you.